valuable to that all of you can have these important links, including the Slack space here, so you can use it. And for the general news, we have different topics. The first one is, can we close the private GitLab repo? So this repository was a GitLab that has been used before we launched publicly Sylva. So here is a question to the members. Is there any blocking point on your point of view to have this GitLab? By the way, Orange is proposing to close this GitLab as we are paying for subscription for this GitLab. Okay, so just a quick roundtable following the partner. Tim, are you okay if we close this GitLab?
Yes, I don't think it is used anymore, so we can close it.
Okay. Nicolas, are you okay?
For Orange?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, I am at the TSC, so I can give a point of view also for Orange.
Yeah.
DT is not here. Telefonica.
Yes.
Luis.
Yes, agree. No problem.
Okay, thank you. Concerning Ericsson.
Yes.
Okay, and Nokia.
Yes, okay.
Okay, thanks a lot. So it was the first point. The second point is that we have a meeting planned for Odin NGMN, where we're going to introduce Sylva. I don't know, Nicolas, if you want to introduce this topic, or I can do it also.
Yeah, I can do quickly. We've been contacted, so Orange has been contacted by the Odin project, which is hosted by NGMN, in order to see if there can be any collaboration. So just to make it clear, that could be collaboration between Orange and the Odin project, and also Sylva and the Odin project. So Odin stands for Operating Disaggregated Networks. So this Odin project is entering phase 3 because it actually started back in 2021, if memory serves. So in phase 3, if I understand correctly, they will evaluate several telco cloud solutions and on the operations angle, and then they will emit recommendations to the ecosystem. So we've had this kind of unofficial discussion so far. In order to make it more official, what has been agreed is that Sylva will make a presentation to the Odin project on May 10th in order to kickstart the collaboration or not between these two projects. But I think it would be beneficial to both projects to collaborate together. We are yet to receive the precise invitation. But this is, I'm sure Chris Hogg will be sending it shortly.
Okay, thank you, Nicolas. As we had some presentation of Odin project from NGMN, we have also a quick look on their sustainability work group. And Sundara, don't hesitate to have a look on it. I think that they are. It can be a leverage on what we are doing on if we want to align the different actors about the telemetry, about what we want to measure and what we want to optimize. So it can be useful for us, but I'll let you and your work group to evaluate this opportunity.
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay, great.
Okay. Guillaume, if I can just rewind for a second to the presentation of Sylva to NGMN Odin project. When we receive the invitation, how do we determine who is going to be officially representing Sylva? Is it something to be discussed here, or do we discuss that in the communication group?
Oh, we can do it here, yeah.
So I don't know if there are volunteers or people interested in joining the session or making the presentation itself. If not, we can manage it. I can manage it, or maybe Guillaume will see. But if there are people willing to do it or interested in doing it. It's also entirely possible. Do we have a flow of volunteers? Or not?
Not for the moment. Okay, so don't hesitate to contact Nicolas or I if you are a volunteer after this TSC or during this TSC.
Yeah, we will share the details.
We might have someone joining you, Nicolas.
Sorry, Richard, could you repeat? I couldn't hear.
Sorry, we might have someone from Equinix join you, listen in, because it might be interesting for us as well.
Yeah, I think it's totally fine. So we will share the details of the invitation when we have them, and you can ping me. I will share the invitation for people who want to participate. And once again, if anyone wants to represent Sylva, it's also possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for this point. The following topic is concerning a quick feedback on the KubeCon, last KubeCon in Amsterdam. Yeah, it was in April. So just to remind that Sylva has been presented during a panel at the Telco Day. So it's a day behind the KubeCon. It's a co-located event of the KubeCon, where we had a presentation from Weaveworks, SUSE, Nokia, and Orange. You've got here the link to this panel. We had also a presentation of Sylva during a CNCF telco gathering organized by VUC Group. So Matthew and I have presented Sylva. And I've been interviewed on the booth of SUSE. The video has not been released yet, and it was an introduction of what is Sylva. And by the way, how Orange is integrating Sylva, but this part is more dedicated to Orange. But by the way, we introduce what is Sylva, what are the core values of Sylva. During this KubeCon, it was the first Linux Foundation Europe Advisory Board. And just to mention that Philippe Ansarguet from Orange is one of the members of this advisory board. There was also Nokia. Don't remember the name, I think it's Tino. And other partners that are working or joining the Sylva initiative, for example, GitLab. Okay, so I don't know if there are other members of the Linux Foundation Europe that are around the table on the advisory board. No? Okay. So I had the opportunity to present Sylva to this advisory board. I think it's important, as Sylva is one of the two projects that are hosted for the moment at the Linux Foundation Europe. So it was important to explain what we are doing, and we have made a clear link between what Sylva is delivering and what are the core values of the Linux Foundation Europe, especially on how we can start collaboration with some important European industrial, but how we want to have global innovation. So we do not want to limit Sylva to Europe. Even if we have started with some actors of Europe, we definitely want to open it globally. So it was exactly the core value of the Linux Foundation Europe. And last one, during the KubeCon, of course, many technical topics. So we had lots of members of Sylva, and I will share to you. So we had many discussions with the Metal Cube community. It was very interesting to meet these teams. So lots of them are coming from Ericsson. And it was also the opportunity to measure the adoption of the ecosystem around the Cluster API. Okay. It was my feedback. Just before giving the floor to other feedback, I can share to you a short picture to illustrate those events. So here you've got the Linux Foundation booth with a nice Sylva logo. The telco day panel with Philippe, Tim from Suzy, so Philippe from Orange, Tim from Suzy, Yone from Nokia, and Nikki from Waveworks. Here are the Sylva members' photo with Orange, with Vodafone. Here, Dutch Telecom, Waveworks, Nokia, Suzy, and Orange. And here it was during the CNCF Telco gathering when I asked who is contributing to Sylva. Main part of the room was already contributing to Sylva, so it was a nice feedback we had during the event. Okay, so it's just to illustrate my feedback. Thank you. My last point in the general news is concerning we had a small workshop around monitoring and logging. So it's a transversal topic that is addressing the work group concerning sustainability, but also the development of a stack. We discuss the different way we can monitor and log not only a mono Kubernetes cluster, but addressing the matter of the federation of multi-Kubernetes cluster and how that kind of solution can be compatible with our needs to have energy consumption, but also monitoring. So the good news is that the different tools we have in mind on the way we are going to collect the metrics and the way we're going to manage this monitoring part, and the way we have planned to introduce this federated monitoring of Kubernetes cluster within the development of the stack are totally compatible. So for the moment, even if we have not clearly defined exactly what are the building blocks we have in mind are fully compatible. So I don't know if Sundara, you were here, and others, if you want to have some comments on this topic.
Yeah, so one other comment is that with Shesh, then we will work on the use cases for various CNFs and then also on the hardware. So that is what we will propose in the next one. So that will have at least a few use cases kind of identified, and then we will see if we can create the test environment in the validation center also.
Yeah.
Shesh, do you want to add anything on that, Frederick?
Not yet. Okay. But definitely, it's I want to highlight your point, Sundara. It's the opportunity you mentioned hardware. It's the opportunity also with Dell and other partners to choose the more common way and to impose to ecosystem or to make the ecosystem adopting the same metrics, the same tool to report and to measure this energy consumption.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we definitely we will organize another session when we are going to progress in each stream. I think it's valuable to have also that kind of cross work group meeting to discuss more freely. Okay. Concerning the work group 1, we had the meeting, the weekly meeting yesterday concerning the development of a stack. So what is important is as we shared just before the KubeCon, is that we have delivered the version 0.1 of the stack on the way we are going to deploy some Kubernetes cluster on VMware and OpenStack. So the Telco Cloud Stack is deployed. We have already integrated this version within Orange different platform. And so we have collected some feedback, some improvements, and some bugs. So the main bugs have been corrected, and one is still in the merge process. So you have the detail here. One was on the Flux deployments, where the merge request hasn't been closed, and the other one was about Metal LB, and it has been corrected. So don't know if some partners want. Sorry, Anand is.
Oh, that's okay, Guillaume. Manage.
Okay, thanks. So I don't know if some other partners have done some tests and want to provide feedback. I don't know if or have planned to test it in the coming weeks. Not yet. No. Yeah, don't hesitate to take the microphone. And what we have shared yesterday, it's important. It's that we are building the main features we want to manage in the backlog, of course, in line with the detailed roadmap we have shared. So here you've got the major RFE. So RFE stands for Request for Evolution. Some on the security part, how we can manage the commit signature, how are we managing the supply chain security, the Kyverno part. And we have also, of course, important features to detail for how we are going to manage the workload clusters, definitions, and lifecycle management. Testing is definitely a key topic to enhance the quality. So how we are going to integrate testing in each step of the CI. So it's on the CI process. And as it is a key features for us, how are we integrating the bare metal in the next release? Okay. So I don't know if you have some question on this backlog. And if you think that we are missing some important topics, you can share it now, but it's also the opportunity that you can address some RFE. We've got a RFE review each week with the team to manage the content of the RFE. For the moment, we have not blocked any RFE. We are more here to integrate the contribution. Any question or additional comments on this? Okay. So that's it for the work group 1 concerning the cloud stack development. So for the validation center, I will let the floor to Luis.
Hello. Okay, for the working group 2, the status right now is that making use of the version 0.1 of Sylva, we are still deploying the first CNF to validate, which is the UDM from Nokia. Actually, this is 2 CNFs. First, the EMS, which is called CTS, and then the UDM. And the status is that we have a blocking issue right now. It has been identified and is being reviewed by the Nokia product team, but still we have no answer, so we are kind of blocked somehow there in the deployment of the first network function, the ZTS. It has a lot of health charms, and one of them is failing, and we have to identify why. So we are waiting there for that solution and keep working. Apart from that, we are working in the process itself of the validation, and we have created the first script to confirm that the telco grade capabilities that are provided by Sylva are actually being used by the CNF that is under validation. It is something that we will start using once we have version 0.2, because the first important telco grade capability to confirm is the use of the SRIOV. But so we will make use of this script by then, but we have already working on, well, we have already written this script and we are testing it. So the status, as I say, we are still, we are progressing, but right now waiting for resolving an issue. The deployment of the first network function on top of the 0.1, and we are getting ready to evolve the validation steps in version 0.2. So what's the next thing that we have to do? Well, complete the deployment, have this solution from the product team, Nokia's product team, and complete the deployment and then the functional test of the CNF before we have the version 0.2. Sharing actions, things that we can share. This time we have something to share. After these weeks working on validating, we have created a document called the lessons learned, where we are indicating what considerations have to be taken in the future validations. Yeah, this is actually uploaded to the workplace environment. Workplace environment in GitLab is where Guillaume is showing right now. And there's a list of considerations there, for instance, that we have to consider how the storage is managed, because we have seen that this can drive into problems. Also, the size of the network function itself has to be considered, because we are just doing, it's not a complete certification and performance with the maximum capacity. It's just validating deployment and basic functional test and validating the use of the telco grade capabilities. So we don't need, so the network function that is to be validated needs to be to allow a reduced sizing. So we don't need to validate millions of subscribers, let's say. So we don't need to have storage for millions. The size should be actually configurable so that we can deploy it. That's an important thing. And we have a discussion going on the use of labeling. That's an interesting discussion that we will talk about internally in the validation team tomorrow. So, but in the end, we have a set of lessons learned that we have compiled, and that's important to share, so that anyone who has to confirm that a given network function can be deployed on Sylva has to keep this in mind, because if not, will not be able to complete the deployment. And we don't have anything to approve today or to decide. There's no decisions at this point to be taken. So that's all about working group 2. Any comment?
Thank you, Luis. Any question to Luis? Additional comment? Do we have some new CNF in the backlog?
No, we are waiting. I think Nokia was presenting another one, but still we have not received the request, so we cannot evaluate it. But the one that they were referring requires SRIOV, so cannot be validated until we have version 0.2 anyway. So no, we don't have anyone in the backlog right now.
So which CNF was?
UPF, I think it was.
Yeah, UPF distributed. So I insist on this point because it was a P1 in the use case of Sylva. We identified that Open RAN, UPF distributed are key elements. So yeah, I think it's very important to have that kind of CNF. So even if we have not this in the coming weeks, the SRIOV features, this is why we have launched this V0.2 to integrate this and bare metal. So definitely the V0.2 will be necessary to launch that kind of validation. But yeah, it's an important step in the project. Thanks, Luis.
Okay.
Concerning security requirements, Théophile is not here today. Just to mention that the team has progressed and finished the work on the backup and restore, and now they are managing the logging and monitoring part. And these features will be published in the GitLab in the dedicated session. And the other point that is important is that this analyzes requirements. It's mainly requirement analysis. We introduce progressively also each item as a technical deliverable within the development of a stack. So it's not a parallel work group with no synchronization of with the enhancement of the security of a stack. Of course, we are managing this link, which is very important. Concerning energy efficiency, Sundara.
Okay, we are now looking at only finalizing the tool. So in the last discussion, we have identified some of the tools, but right now I'm just looking for where we can deploy the tool in the lab environment, and then that is the discussion underway right now. But if there is any information from this group, that is welcome for us to help so we can kind of integrate that one in some of the CNFs that are there already in the validation center. So that is the next step that we are targeting to have to deploy the tool in the validation center.
Okay. And your next meeting is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question to Sundara?
Any questions, comments? So then after tomorrow's meeting, then we will give you an update or the mail or so, and we also will have a session with the Green Energy Foundation. So that is also scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay, and I've got a comment on my part after the panel which presented Sylva as an introduction, but the main topic was about sustainability. I had some discussion with some industrial and other operators that thinks that it was a good priority to integrate energy efficiency in the different deliverables of Sylva. So just to reinforce the importance of your work group, Sundara.
Sure. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Concerning communication and adoption, André is not here today, but Nicolas is part of this work group. So Nicolas, the floor is yours.
Yep, quickly. So we had a proposal from the Linux Foundation Europe. So we talked about the Odin project. We had a proposal from the Linux Foundation Europe, who will be organizing a summit in Bilbao in September. So we need to figure out how Sylva will be represented there, because obviously the Linux Foundation Europe wants to reserve some space in the agenda for Sylva as being one of its most important projects. So what we said is that we will figure out in the course of June how, who, and when Sylva will be represented during this event. So we just keep a bit more time. We want to settle all that just before the summer period. So we still have a bit of time to do that. So it will be done in June. And there was an additional proposal from the Linux Foundation Europe, which was to have a dedicated event for Sylva. So what we said is that it was still a bit early in 2023 to organize this kind of dedicated event. We would like to have maybe the first GA release of Sylva with some concrete deployment in productions, which if we are lucky, will happen soon enough by the end of the year. So what we gave a rain check to the Linux Foundation Europe for 2024, because end of the year we should have the GA, and beginning of 2024 we should have our first deployment in production. So rain check for early 2024, let's say H1 2024. Guillaume, maybe you want to say a word about the KubeCon for the debrief, or it was already in the general information?
It has been done during the general news section. Yeah. Okay.
We have an onboarding session next Wednesday with currently 2 operators, some vendors and integrators, maybe more. We'll see. We are also looking forward to having the Sylva directed fund created, because then we will have more support from the marketing division of the Linux Foundation to support us. And I don't know if you got the information, but the online shop is open, so you can all order your goodies, your Sylva goodies. So you have T-shirts, you have teddy bears, you have coffee cups, whatever, you name it. It's available on the official LFE online shop. You can advertise Sylva passively and anytime.
Thank you, Nicolas. Any question or remarks to Nicolas?
One comment from myself from Telefónica. The event in Bilbao, well, we will be interested in following it up because we will probably be there.
Yep.
It's
Okay, Luis.
in our area.
So we will address, as I said, we will address the matter probably end of May, early June. So
Yes.
we will get back to you. I'm gonna report that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Other additional topic to Nicolas or questions? No? Okay. So by the way, for the onboarding sessions, I have many validation of this meeting. So some have transferred the invite and it's very good options. So yeah. Interesting topic. Okay. So last work group, it's concerning the governance and the evolution. So Théophile is not here, so I will present this topic. What we are targeting is the creation of a directed fund in June. So just to remind, this fund is the way Sylva can have his own autonomous fund to make some common expense, for example, in marketing or others, or in platform or tooling and so on, or professional services. So we are targeting these dates. So for this month, we are collecting during this month of May the interested companies that want to become sponsor of this project in 2023. And we are going to identify those companies and to prepare the process of sign off of the different documents. So you don't hesitate to contact Théophile, Nicolas, or I, or even Scott Nicolas from the Linux Foundation on this process. Just to share with you that for this year, we've got 70% of discount. So the objective is to have a minimal budget for the different partner for this first year, as we want to grow more in 2024. And so to become a general sponsor, it's about 6 kilo euros. And to become a premier sponsor, it's about 15 kilo euros. So on the different voting member of Sylva, some are already interested to become premier sponsor, and but it's an open governance. So don't hesitate to any partner around the bridge to apply for becoming general sponsor or premier sponsor. And of course, when you are going to show your interest, we also share to you what is the governance, what is your influence on the way we are going to choose a priority on this budget. So we've got a specific governance to define how we're going to buy some professional services, some marketing, and so on. So there's an overall governance. We are using some templates of a Linux Foundation Europe and Linux Foundation. So we are using some proven experiences about how we are going to manage some directed fund, but don't hesitate to ask us if you have interest and more question on how it will be organized. I don't know if someone wants to add comments or explaining a little bit more. I don't know. Many are involved, Luis, Nicolas, Carlo. I don't know if you are Rehab. I don't know if you have Uni, if you have some additional comments to introduce this directed fund. No?
No, just write the check.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
Okay. And the way we organize it is also, of course, to manage the fact that the work group recommendation will be in the core of the decision. So at the end of the day, the voting member will decide, but the voting member of this directed fund. But of course, the aim is to be pragmatic and to use the recommendation of the teams. Okay, so is there any companies around the bridge that make interest, just to be interested but wants to evaluate this option? So don't hesitate to tell it now, or of course you can contact us in the coming days. I don't know. There are some question or. No? Was it clear, this part? Because it's a new topic we have not so introduced before. So here I'm more asking this question to the members that are not voting members. I don't know, for Huawei, for Wind River, for Equinix, for Dell. Is it clear, this part of directed fund?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Richard?
It's clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, no question yet.
Okay. So you've got the planning, and of course, the minutes of this meeting will be published by the end of tomorrow, end of the day of tomorrow. So you will have this planning. You can share it internally to start to evaluate this option. And if you are not applying for this year, it's not the end of the day. You can do it next year. Okay. Any general comments or general question?
Just one question on this.
Yeah.
This
Sure.
should be separately from the LF. I mean, some of us will be part of LF, right? The normal LF, the global LF. So this fund will be separately apart from LF, right? This fund will be apart from the normal LF.
Seshu, you're asking if this directing fund will be outside of LF. Is it your point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Will it be only for LF Europe, or it will be for LF Europe, or it will be only for Sylva?
Yeah. So this directed fund will be attached to the Linux Foundation Europe. And
Okay.
yeah, maybe your question is here.
Yeah.
There's in fact, I've understood during the Linux Foundation Europe, something that I have not understood before, is that Linux Foundation Europe has only one member, which is Linux Foundation. So there's a clear link between the two subsidiaries. The aim is to make a clear link, but giving the autonomy to Linux Foundation within Europe. Concerning this directing fund, it will be hosted by the Linux Foundation Europe, like Sylva. Nicolas, are you okay with this? I think, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so you're saying this fund is for the entire Linux Foundation Europe, not just for Sylva to start with.
Yeah.
And the funding of Linux Foundation Europe will be separate from the normal Linux Foundation, which is actually at the global level. I mean, if I understand correctly.
No. Just if I may. So the fund is dedicated to the Sylva project, which is under the Linux Foundation Europe.
Okay.
First,
That was
okay?
my question.
It's not a fund for the entire Linux Foundation Europe. Is that clear?
Yeah. That was my question.
Okay. And then Linux Foundation Europe is, let's say, a sister organization to Linux Foundation. This is why Scott is from Linux Foundation, because all the legal aspects are managed by the Linux Foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore,
Mhm.
and Seshu, important point, therefore, there's a consequence. If you are members of Linux Foundation,
Mhm.
you can, for free, be member of Linux Foundation Europe. Yeah,
right.
That was my confusion actually, because
Yeah.
I was under the impression that if you're part of Linux Foundation, you can be part of Linux Foundation Europe. So this fund was, that was my question, right? Is it only for Sylva or Linux Foundation Europe?
It is only for Sylva.
It's for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other clarification questions?
No.
No.
I have one question. So the sponsor will be listed in the Sylva official website, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, we'll be. We didn't. We are so focused on the charter itself that we didn't think about it. But yes, somewhere we will publish who is general sponsor and premier sponsor, because this is this information has to be published.
And I do agree, of course, with Nicolas, but just add to, we can maybe, I don't know, we can decide the different sponsor project may want also to have a press release. It's another option.
Yes.
Definitely, the Linux Foundation Europe will propose to have a press release on the creation of this fund. So as general sponsor or premier sponsor, I think it will be clearly mentioned in the press release.
Okay.
Okay. But thank you for the point. That's an additional topic to manage for the communication work group. We need to think about that. Thank you.
I will add this in the minutes, Nicolas.
Thank you.
Including the website and the press release.
Thank you.
Joe Wong, any other jobs for us in the different work groups?
Not
Oh,
yet.
please stop the meeting.
Okay. So I think we finished the roundtable. Thanks all, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Okay, see
Guillaume,
you.
for the
Bye-bye.
donation. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.